frags just yet, but Shock finds Crew, and the Earth Shatter comes in. It's massive! Paragon showing us it's his turf. White's now
and a pulse pop from Crab ends up getting the double kill there in the backline. Upgrade able to pick up. Oh goodness, here comes the Blizzard. Gonna look to get the attack.
And in the sleep though, in the nade in, and they don't even need a single ult here to win it other than Shatter. And Kavat taking out Socher there from a mile away.
Upgrade taking out Big Drugs. That's the long one. Oh, but
Paragon with another Shatter! That's three
Shatters! In the background. This may be possible. It could be. It really could be the boom. Oh, still here.
Welcome to season 3. Welcome to season 3 of the Roast Cup. Season 3.
Welcome to season 3 of the Roast Cup.
Welcome to season 3.
Welcome to season 3 of the Roast Cup.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing match at.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Rose Cup Week 12 with this Gold Division matchup between Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith and Lotus. I will be your play-by-play caster Booney. Alongside me is Dr. Heathen. Now, Heathen, what do you expect out of this match? You know, we have some footage from Lotus, but actually nothing on Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith, so we just don't know what they're going to bring out. But you did some research on Lotus. What did you find?
Well, I found people like to run Far Reaper a lot. We have, of course, the footage from the match of Lotus versus Nebula Phoenix, where Lotus came up 3-1 over Nebula Phoenix, and they were on Pharaoh Reaper, if I'm not mistaken, just about once every map. I might be missing out on Numbani specifically, but outside of that. But going into this matchup, Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith is the top seed. They have played this matchup before, and last time they came out with a 3-1 victory against Lotus. So definitely Lotus is the underdog right now in the situation, and the fact that the Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith have a little bit more footage to go off might not be in their favor. But we also know from last time that we have YW Phoenix over on Lotus as the main support, a player known for pulling out the Mercy pistol just a little bit. And Volpe, I believe, got the MVP for his DPS play in the game that he was in.
All right, we are going to be jumping in here to our first map, Oasis, here very shortly. And hopefully we'll get to see some of that battle Mercy you're talking about from Phoenix. And see if Volpe can put on another MVP performance. As we enter in here to Oasis, we will be starting on, I believe this is not University, not City Center. It's the other one, but I'm blanking right now. It is Gardens, yes.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what teams roll out here.
It is a map that we've seen heavily for Pharah in the past. And just because of how recently we've seen Lotus be playing that character, that's kind of what I'm expecting to roll out on as well. Asylum Gaming Crew, of course, was talking about a moment ago, a little bit more of the mystery just because we don't have the footage of them.
And Fark has always been running this map, whether it be Overwatch League, like almost in any meta, or any sort of professional play. A lot of teams like to run the Pharah here, just that wide open space in the center. Have a lot of architecture you can hide behind. Your Mercy can stay safe. Setting up on that high ground, we'll see what team's starting to roll out on. I don't expect Cheshire Cat to stay on the Wrecking Ball Hog. It's a very interesting combination. I don't see it very often, but again, you did see Volbeat and Freckles on that Reaper and Pharah, so that might be a pick. It's interesting they're not running the Mercy with Phoenix. Maybe they'll swap off the Ana here once the game starts, but on the other side, it looks like we're going pretty standard, but with an Ashe over a Reaper.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting a more accurate depiction of what they're going to be running coming out of the gate. The main difference now is going to be that Pharah versus Grant Slay is on the Ashe currently. But other than that, it's just a mirror composition.
Very standard to have Phoenix hopping over onto that Mercy. Going to help out Volbeat in the sky. As we move in here, both teams trying to take positions. Sigma Shield thrown up by Koku, keeping those Far Rockets off their team. A Hulk comes through, but nothing really found off that. The accretion a little late there from Cocoa Dust. No team really finding anything. A early Wraith Force from Freckles, very low, has to back off. Mr. Meme takes down Volpe out of the sky as a Moira. A huge Hulk comes through from Techboy. As they move forward here, Reaper in the backline. Freckles trying to put some damage, but not really getting anything. Has to force a Wraith out. Grant Slay, headshot into Cheshire Cat, and it's going to be a pretty easy fight win here for Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith.
Yeah, and off of that, they're going to have Coalescence advantage going to the next fight. Mr. Meme just needing 1%. Never mind, he's already built the Coalescence for the next engagement, and Hexocy just falling a little bit behind, meaning that they're going to have the advantage going in this engagement. And Volby needs to find a little bit more value and justify this pick, because he got picked really early last fight.
Now it's interesting that XZ still lost the fight, but it still has a huge advantage in terms of Sigma Flux, outdoing Mad Scientist in terms of the beat, so it could be huge moving in here this next attack. Accretion is being thrown out left and right, nothing finding. Volby getting that off angle. Freckles taking down Awakener Degree. Reaper down on side of Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith. Both teams trying to invest his Coalescence and push in. Valkyrie coming up from Feeks as well. Double support ultimates. Volby gets the boop off onto Grant Slay, taking a swim off the side of the map. A Hulk comes through for Cheshire Cat, and here comes the Sigma Flux. Maybe not necessary. Pushing in here, a Resurrect comes out onto Freckles, and we are going to have them taking the point back. Lotus taking first control, that is, if they do kill Awakener, just trying to Wraith get some extra percentage for their team, but he's going to be taken care of quickly, and finally a point swap comes over for Lotus.
Yeah, it just feels like it's the battle of opening picks right now. Both fights started with the DPS dying early into the engagement, meaning that the team was down one. The aggressors then pushed in, used some ultimates in the second fight at least, and took over the fight. So the DPS just need to not get picked so early and get into this engagement to get a more even fight. And if they do that, Asylum Gaming Crew has a pretty good advantage this fight with their Flux.
Asylum Gaming Crew with the Flux and the beat to engage with no Flux from XZ on the other side. They're going to push in with the Supercharger from Tekko. Moving in, the Wraith comes through from Freckles, but gets booped away. A nice boop from Mad Scientist. Awakener, however, responds to 2 kills of his own. A third, a triable kill coming from Awakener. A quad kill! Awakener not letting this point go to waste. A nice ultimate followed up by 2 solid kills, carrying this team on his back.
And going into this next engagement, they still have Flux on their side, and XC obviously hasn't had time to build his up, so... And there's no defensive ultimate on the side of Lotus either, so there's every opportunity for this. Never mind.
Oh, but Grant Slay gets a nice headshot on Volbeat right in the middle of that barrage. No value coming from that. It's not in an unriskable position as well. Grant Slay, however, falls to Freckles, so it's a 5v5 fight right now. Not getting all that aggressive, though, is the side of Lotus. Probably waiting for last fight territory here. Get a couple of ultimate. Volbeat swapping over onto that May, probably for some stall potential here at the end. XZ almost has that Flux built up. Moving in here, a Hulk comes through from Tekko Boy. Nothing really found it. The Moira's by themselves. Hexocy trying to stay alive. Can't get the Moira ultimate. The Coalescence falls. Grant Slay with the Bob gets a kill. Moving in, XZ tries to get some value out of that Flux, but falls. And Grant Slay, the Bob with the carry. Bob with the play of the game from Grant Slay with a triple kill. And Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith taking the first point.
It feels like Lotus might have just sat on the Pharah a little bit too long after seeing the Ashe and dying immediately in the first fight, not really finding any value after that. It might have just been a better call to swap it out immediately after seeing the Ashe, just because of how difficult it was going to be moving forward in that. And it looks like they're picking up on that lesson. They appear to be sticking on the May and rolling out with just that comp this time around.
Yeah, and the thing is with City Center, or with Gardens there, it's not like they're running a McCree, where the McCree has to run or walk slowly up the stairs to come get that far off the high ground. The Ashe can just get up there instantly with that, the coach gun and push some pressure on the far. I think that's a good play, a good pick coming out from Grant Slay. Maybe they watched the VOD, but Grant Slay on the McCree now instead of the Ashe. Awakener Degree deciding to take on the Pharah of their own. Get some huge value with these rockets. Already 35% of a barrage built up. Hexocy down already. Nice damage boost Pharah in the sky from Awakener. Moving them out. Not much damage coming through for the side of Lotus. They're kind of just trying to hide out and try not to die here. But Awakener Degree already halfway to that barrage on the ground. Freckles forced to Wraith out, taken out by Coco Glass. Awakener Degree takes down Lucio, and this might just be a quick fight win for Asylum Gaming Crew. Really no resistance put up at all by Lotus in that fight after that easy pick-off. Coming through from Awakener. Already has the barrage, but Grant Slay taken down by Volbeat. Deciding to invest that barrage already. XZ takes 2 with them, but it does look like Asylum Gaming Crew is going to hold the point.
And we saw throughout that fight, Lotus's Orisa Cat was trying to poke down the Mercy, but just wasn't able to put enough pressure to really force the Pharah back. And that left so much space open for that player to move in and do so much damage, build up Rocket Barrage in one fight. And they're gonna need to respond to that, and they're just not swapping up the comp right now. Finally, we're gonna see Volbeat swapping over to the McCree for this engagement.
Volbeat on the McCree, kind of interesting to see the projectile DPS player moving over onto that hit scan roll. See how that works out for him. Hexocy almost has that Coalescence, but so is Mad Scientist. building it up. Both Moiras using it instantaneously. Freckles with the kill on Tekka Boy. The Orisa is gone. The horse is gone for Asylum Gaming Crew. However, Gransley takes down Phoenix with a nice headshot. This could be a fight that Lotus could win here as they move in here, getting aggressive. A nice accretion on a Coconuts. Freckles taking down Gransley. Moving in here. Mr. Meme decided now is the time to use that Valkyrie and keep their team alive here. Both teams just kind of moving around the point in a circle. Tekka Boy takes on Hexasy. Moira is gone. There's a lot of healing gone for Lotus. And Tekka Boy coming back with 2. They might win this fight even if they got picked first. Awakener Degree taking down Phoenix. Tekka Boy, Volbeat, Tekka Boy putting the fight on their back right now. Awakener Degree clean it up with that barrage. Might not have been necessary. But as we move in here, huge ult advantage coming through for the side of Asylum Gaming Crew.
Yeah, Asylum Gaming Crew losing the first player, but they managed to pick off the Lucio in response, and it made it so difficult to push into them fast. Before the Orisa just came back from spawn, got 2 kills, won the fight, and it looks like we're going to last fight territory. Supercharger being dropped.
Oh, Gransley takes down Chester Cat. That's a lot of barrier presence gone. A lot of the Supercharger. XZ deciding to use that Sigma ultimate. The Flux is huge, but doesn't get really much out of it. Gransley gets his ultimate eaten by XZ, but XZ stuck up in the air with Coco Dust's Flux. Freckles trying to pick it down, but Coco Dust with the Sigma Gravitic Grass there, or Connect Grass there, apologies. Moving in, Awakener Degree, just finding these these late pickoff kills, and that is going to be Asylum Gaming Crew Gaming with a 99-0 victory here. Making it look easy on Oasis.
Yeah, we knew coming into this that they were the favorite to win, and they're definitely showing us that right now. That's a very strong opening performance, and Lotus are going to have to do a lot in order to recover from this, because they're definitely getting outplayed at the moment.
Awakener Degree has some huge plays here, whether it be on that Reaper or the Pharah, with some nice ultimate usage and just overall pick potential. But I also got to shout out Tekko for that one fight when they came back down 1, got a double kill. Some very solid team play coming out from Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith. And you can see why they are the #1 seed there, because you call that rotation, they were all moving as one big lump almost into that little side room to stay alive, not really splitting off, sticking together. So overall, just great team play from them, I think. And Lotus, it was a very, I should say unlucky, but it wasn't a good pick to see Cheshire Cat with the Supercharger falling super early to Gransley there at the last fight. That could have been huge, turn that fight around had they had that Supercharger or the Orisa barrier to work with. So just some clutch plays coming out from Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith there at the end. So we move into our next map, which will be, I believe, Assault.
It will be Anubis. Lotus just picked the map. They're gonna opt to go for Anubis. Between the two, Volsky and Anubis. I feel like Anubis is the more hated map on general. I definitely feel like it gets more hate than Volsky is what I'm trying to say. Compositionally, these two maps are sort of similar. You can run a Bastion comp. You can run the double shield meta. Pharah isn't as great of an option in the first point, I've been told, but
Pharah is very interesting to pick on Anubis just because there's a lot of architecture to hide around, but there's also not much room to work with, especially on second point where you're inside that little enclosed temple. You got the pillars to hide around, but I think I've seen maybe like a Junkrat strat, like a hidden something like that, or Bastion, of course. Junkrat, of course, very popular on top of Anubis just because of all the little chokes he can spam out with those grenades.
And all the high grounds that you can reach up to pretty easily with that character. Kind of expecting them to be running the Junkrat actually now that you mention it. I know that they've run Reaper Junkrat in the past in a couple of their matches as well. But, well, we'll see. 37 seconds on the clock until they pick what characters that they're going to be on, and then we'll have a decent understanding of at least the defense, which is going to be Asylum Gaming Crew.
I will say that Lotus, even though they did lose that last map pretty one-sidedly, I would say, XZ's Sigma impressed me, actually. Has some well-placed fluxes along with some really nice tosses of the rock, as they say, hitting all the people of Asylum Gaming Crew, but just wasn't enough. Did seem to get a little more value out of it than Coco Dust, but Coco Dust did have some very solid performance as well. So we'll see what the Sigma 1v1 is, or if they can build on XZ's solid performance here. Now, as we look at the attack, actually, it does seem to be pretty standard, moving out Volbeat, not Pharah, but on the Mei. Perhaps expecting the Bastion, because with the Mei, you can wall that Bastion up and put some damage into him, and hopefully he dies, but we do see a Asylum Gaming Crew with no Bastion on that side, so going with the Pharah Widow composition.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt if they can't scout this out beforehand and understand that there's a Pharah, because this is the strongest anti-Bastion composition, I believe, at the moment. And it's just not really built to fight off Pharah. There is potential if you just run into the entire team and kill them all before the Pharah manages to get her damage off, and that might be enhanced a little bit just by the fact that their opponent is playing Widow, but overall, it's a pretty challenging composition to pull off.
I mean, the Pharah and the Widow, Volbeat's got hit some really nice icicles here if they're going to try to get any value on the other opponent's DPS. Takobi just staying up on the high ground here, trying to maybe get a nice halt in there. Does get 3, but no value found as Awakener was forced to reload and the halt came through. Moving into the left room here. The Accretion is blocked on both sides. Moving in, Accretion blocked again. Both teams kind of poking each other out. A forced kinetic grass out from XZ. However, Mad Scientist takes down Volbeat. Coco Dust trying to kill, but Mad Scientist falls in the backline. Maybe if they back out now, they might have a chance to bring this back before Mad Scientist is back, but does get rezzed by Mr. Meme. Ooh, but Grand Slay with that Widowmaker pick finds 2. And Asylum Gaming Crew going to take this fight. A Hulk comes through, doesn't catch this tank line. Caught off, might be forced to die here. Is XZ and Cheshire Cat forced in a small room with a Waker. And a pretty solid fight win.
To be honest, that fight was over when they lost momentum walking through the room with the Mega. This comp is not built to poke, and the opposing composition on Pharah Widowmaker is definitely built to poke. And the longer that you stay at range, not on top of the enemy tanks, the greater your chances are of losing in this engagement.
Waker already has that barrage to work with. See if they go in left room again, but wait no longer! Gets a double kill with Coco Dust finding Volbeat as well. And that's going to be another easy fight when one ultimate invested. That's going to be about another minute off the clock of Lotus. They're pushing in here, they're getting aggressive. Coco Dust almost in the spawn. Pushing up. Forced to back out, gets halted, but Coco Dust managed to stay alive with that Sigma barrier. They might try to punish their aggression with their lack of positioning, but it does look like they're going to get back into that high ground just in time for his next push from Lotus. Push in, they're going to go down main actually. A nice Kinetic Grass coming out from XZ. No halt found there from Cheshire. Can't get him off the high ground, they're stuck up there. Both Moiras investing the Coalescence in this fight, keeping their team alive. Early Fortify forced up from both Tech Boy and Cheshire Cat. Mad Scientist killing Volbeat with that Coalescence with the Kamehameha, taking them down. Moving in, Coco Dust with the Great Flux. We do have Phoenix with the beat to answer. Supercharger placed down by Tekobi, and this looks like it might be enough with 2 kills coming through. Tekobi finding 2, a nice Supercharger, but they used a lot of ultimates to win that fight, so maybe this could be a chance that Lotus is looking for.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to get past that Rocket Barrage again, and they only have the Supercharger right now. They are coming up on 2 of their ultimates, but that being said, they just
on
sacrificed.
The monkey. Oh, they're going full dive here.
There goes 2 of the ults that they were building up on. They really only have Death Blossom close to being ready. I don't think they have enough time to build up more than that in Coalescence, though.
Yeah, with a minute left, it's a very interesting late swap here onto the dive. See if they can't get value into this bunker composition. Trying to find a forced bubble from XZ. Can't really get aggressive now without this bubble. Oh, but the barrage meets him at the stairs. Finds XZ. Just before that jam could come through, Tekobi, Cheshire Cat losing that mech. This could be really bad with only 45 seconds left. Might not even be able to get that mech back. Phoenix falls and a Waker gets rezzed by Mr. Meme. Full strength is Asylum Gaming Crew. And they're just going to stagger out the Baby Diva. The Genji manages to just, silently walk away like a ninja does. But the Scientist in their hand is not. Hexy falls to Mad Scientist.
30 seconds on the clock, so they have just enough time for Axis to get back for this next push. And when they do that, they're going to have Coalescence as well as Death Blossom. But they need time to get on top of this lineup. And they pop Death Blossom. That wasn't intentional.
That better have been a fat finger there, or unless you're expecting, the enemy team to be in that small room. XZ falls just sitting in the main choke there. Trying to poke in maybe, but as a Winston's very hard. Awakener to greeting the Hexy, and that's 2 people down, and they managed to get one last touch here. Mad Scientist taking out Volbeat though, the Kamehameha. Getting a lot of value out of the ultimate is Mad Scientist. Freckles forced to Wraith in the small room. Cheshire Cat loses that mech. Grand Slave finding Freckles on the back end. That DPS duo is gone. The Winston comes back. The Coalescence keeping the team up a little bit here. Cheshire Cat does manage to get the mech back, but Phoenix falls to Kobe. Another Supercharger invested. Fortify used, trying to keep up alive, but Cheshire can't lose that mech. They fought so hard to get back. The accretion comes through. XZ. Awaker Degree gets 3 at the end here. Volbeat with a little bit of revenge kill, but it is just a little bit too late. Awaker's Farah. I gotta say, been putting in the work on these last 2 maps.
Yeah, he provides a lot of pressure. Lotus did come away with 49% of the capture progress, so they're not entirely out of the map now. But it's going to be extremely challenging moving forward, especially with how well AGC were playing that. Picking a pick composition, sitting at range, only throwing their Farah in aggressively when they had Rocket Barrage or good opening. Not really many cracks in that defense, and if that continues, it's very, very challenging right now for Lotus to win out this map.
Yeah, I really think their best chance is probably just a Bastion cheese comp, you know, just to sit on that high ground and try to stay alive for as long as possible. But from what we've seen with the Silent Gaming crew, they are looking like a very strong team right now. And it does look like Freckles and Volbeat are going to be in that Junkrat Bastion composition. Just maybe trying to spam him out. Phoenix onto the Baptiste with the Immortality Field, trying to keep their team alive a little bit longer. But I think, again, from what we've seen, I got to give the advantage probably to a Silent Game crew, Wraith, as they are making their final picks here. We got the tank line. Jacoby and Coco Dust have been very, very well coordinated for this match. Taking up that Halt Accretion combo or the Halt Gravitic Flux combo. All the combos you can do with Halt. I mean, I'm going to be honest there. Halt is probably the best ability on cooldown in the game, in my opinion, but of course, that's that opinion to many people.
If we're going to this matchup, we have the Farah Ashe versus the Bastion composition. So it's really just going to be whether or not the DPS can sit at range and find a pick. And what we've seen from so far, it looks like we have a pretty good chance of that happening. He is getting pelted down just a little bit, though, in the opening.
Kind of an interesting position taken by Phoenix there, set up on that high ground. I don't know if you can see that, but just not really a touch. Mr. Meme falls to Freckles. The Bastion finding a little bit of value, taking down that Mercy. Takes down Awaker as well. Far Mercy taken out of the sky. Wings clipped by Freckles. As they're kind of stuck here in this little left room with nowhere really to go. They've got to wait for their Far Mercy to return. But that's just what Volbeat wants. Chucking in those nades. Does manage about 50% of the Riptire. Volbeat finding Mad Science at the end there. That's a huge pick. A huge stagger. They're not going to be able to really push in now without that. Moira healing down both supports. This tank line and this Ashe is kind of just stuck up here on the high ground with absolutely no way of healing themselves. But the mines, the grenades not really finding any value. He's going to push in. Volbeat is chucking him in. Almost has that tire built up. And forced to back off by themselves. Does have the Riptire though. Volbeat fighting Grizzly. These staggers are massive. Volbeat's a little trap up there. Does get Coco Dust. And Jacoby is just a horse by themselves trying to, you know, maybe stay alive.
You know, at this point, you just get yourself killed. You're a minute 20 in off of the first push alone, and your Orisa's still out of position, so you can't push in. This is just the most disastrous opening that you could have.
I don't know what they're expecting to accomplish here. This Orisa sitting by themselves with Phoenix staring them down through that door, waiting for him to come through.
We're going Saving Private Ryan for the strat here. They're going to teleport up to the Orisa so that the entire team can be together once again, is my prediction.
Yeah, let's see if the Bastion has anything to say about that, though, as they move in there. Sigma Bear keeps the team alive. Oh, but Grand Slave Freckles finding the frag, but they're touching the point already. Nobody's there. Coco Dust taking down the Immortality Field. That's the Phoenix down. Waker can agree. XC finding the counterpart kill onto Coco Dust. The Sigma's down. Mad Scientist accretion out of that Coalescence. Nice play. Volbeat tires in Freckles, putting on an absolute clinic on this Bastion. Here comes Riptire and finds the late kill onto Mr. Meme, but Hexacy investing in that Coalescence might come back to bite them here in the next coming fights.
We're going in this next engagement. Phoenix is at 80% to Baptiste window, and that's one of the stronger ultimates actually in the Bastion comp, and it builds super fast. So it's going to be really challenging for this next push when AGC push in with no ultimates into what's basically going to be 3 ultimates by the time the push happens.
And the thing is, you can like Bap window and then supercharge the next fight, so you got 2 ultimates to work with this Bastion composition here. Oh, Mad Scientist doesn't quite get the TP in time, falls. The Immortality Field placed on the point so the team can contest. Lotus keeping their team up. Oh, but 2 kills comes through. They're somehow bringing this fight back with the supercharger of some Cheshire Cat falls to Coco Dust. How are they bringing this fight back here? Waker Greech finds Freckles, and it does look like Silent Gaming crew is going to take this fight back. How did they win this one?
The ultimates of Lotus didn't come off. They ended that fight with the Bastion ult, which is kind of understandable, and they ended that fight with the Baptiste ult. So they just didn't get value of their ultimates, and when it comes down to it, the enemy managed to build Sim Wall, which is the only ultimate that they needed to block Supercharger. It felt
very
like
interesting, chaotic team fight there. I don't really see what was going on because before you knew it, Lotus was already down 4 members, and Asylum Game Crew Gaming was just sitting there on the point, taking the counter progress.
Yeah, they lost one of their members, having to stand on point where they could rotate their full team successfully. Bastion sitting on the corner alone. It kind of just fell apart. It felt like AGC sort of only took that long to cap because they were playing against themselves. And the moment that they stopped doing that, had an actual plan going forward and moved in as a team rather than
the moment that
up.
Private Ryan was saved, so was the map.
The moment that Private Ryan died and they started over, they won the map.
All right, we are 2 maps in. Asylum Game Crew Wraith up 2-0 on Lotus. We will be heading into, I believe, a halftime here. A little bit of 5-minute break for the teams. And we'll be right back here. Can Lotus bring it back with the reverse sweep? Figure out after this.
And a sneaky hammer down from Raven. A very risky.
Blue goes down, the Shatter falls from Paragon, the Blizzard will follow it up. I don't think anyone's getting out alive over here. Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Needs to go see a chiropractor. The straw that broke the camel's back seems to be Blue just finally matching his DPS on the other side of the screen and bragging out.
Never reminded, never taken whatever you told me. I know what I could be. Making a motion pentacle answer. Tell me, is this what you made me?
Walk through that bunker comp, it really kind of prevents you from getting some picks here. Of course, Vivek's doing a lot of work here, taking down both Snee and Raccoon in the air, and then of course getting a flashbang kill onto Ozymandias as they just roll right through Dark Allegiance. So, of course, all of my analysis was completely wrong.
the team EMP ends up getting 2 as the blade comes in. Dash with the quadruple kill. Quintuple kill. Looking for the sextuple. Not going to be able to get it, unfortunately. But team kill still going to ring out loud and proud as RGH takes down.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back from the halftime show. We're back here at Asylum Game Crew Wraith versus Lotus. Asylum Game Crew Wraith up 2-0 in this matchup, Week 12, Gold Division. And now, as we saw in this last map of Anubis, Asylum Game Crew Wraith, decently strong defense, holding them on point A, but then also a very interesting attack, a little bit of Saving Private Ryan, as we said, but I'll see what Lotus decides to pull out here. I will say a little bit of a highlight on Anubis for Lotus, if you take anything away, is Freckles was a very strong Bastion. Was able to get a bunch of nice picks offs, and maybe they can bring it over into our next map choice, which is, spoiler alert, Numbani, which is a very strong Bastion map on point A especially. So I think I'm expecting Volbeat on the Pharah and Freckles on the Bastion. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that's roughly what I'm expecting too. They might be a little dissuaded from going back to the Pharah just because of how it turned out after the Oasis map. But actually, just because of how strong Bastion is on this map, it does look like a pretty good pick.
You're just going to see what the teams roll out here on the attack and defense. I'm expecting a little bit of standard from both sides, maybe a little bit of Bastion. But now, will Volbeat pull out the Mei on attack now this time that they might be expecting that Bastion pick? See how they decide to approach this with 15 seconds left into the selection process of heroes. Be interesting to see what teams pull out for the defense of B or C with that Bastion, maybe losing a bit of power off that A attack. The Pharah is pretty strong for both these points. So we move in. Here's 1 second left. Freckles onto the Bastion and Volbeat onto the Pharah, but they are on attack. Who knows if they'll stay with this one? We have the Ash Junkrat coming out for the side of Asylum Game Crew Wraith. Mr. Meme not picking yet, perhaps waiting to see what the team decides. And again, Coco Dust and Tekobi onto the Orisa Sigma pick. Very strong tank line so far in this game from both of them. Nice strong performances, solid. Now,
the attack Bastion's a little bit weird.
It's a little bit weird, but so is the defense Ash on Numbani. So both these teams being a little bit of a interesting picks here. But of course, the Orisa Sigma is pretty standard now. As a tank man myself, I really enjoy my comp experience smile. See where Lotus decides to move in. Waker just throwing a little bit of those nades, trying to get some damage. Gets 4% of the ultimate, not much value found. XD's barrier is there, but the Dynamite holding Freckles back. Can't really push in, has to heal up. See where they decide to go with this. Looks like they might be approaching this with the low ground. Maybe let Volbeat get that high. Mr. Meme kind of stuck off, going to run back to their team. Grandsley by himself. Coco Dust having to drop on the point to contest. The accretion comes through for XZ, not finding anything. 4-5-4 out Teko early. They might take advantage here and push in. Neither team really falling here, but Grandsley falls to Volbeat. There's the only counter to the Pharah gone. On the side of Silent Gaming Crew, moving in, trying to keep alive, but with just a Waker just keeping the whole team back by themselves with that trap and the nades. Throwing it in, not really pushing in with their advantage. Already has a tire moving in, taken out by XZ. A nice set of balls thrown in there onto that tire. Hextasy with the Moira ultimate. A Waker gets the kill into XZ with the death nades. Both teams just trading back and forth here. Phoenix falls low. Tekobi finding Freckles. The Bastion is gone. A lot of damage gone. Volbeat almost has the ultimate to work with, but without... Oh my. They had a huge advantage. Not really pushing in though. The Coalescence out for Mad Scientist. Grandsley did swap off the Ash on McCree. Meme Supreme takes down Volbeat. And it looks like Asylum Game Crew might bring this back unless they can get some value out of this Bastion from Freckles. But Coco Dust finds Hextasy. That's a lot of healing gone. Tekobi taking down Freckles. And they somehow take this back even though they lost Grandsley really early.
Yeah, a couple of misplays, some lack of aggression, a misplay, a little bit of a disconnect between the tanks and the Bastion, leaving him without a shield for just a moment, costing them their resurrect. And AGC able to come back into this fight, and they're looking pretty good for the second fight because they have their Gravitic Flux ready, And XZ only at 58% right now, meaning that they're going to be in a little bit of a struggle. We see some swaps coming out. Hextasy onto the Baptiste. I like this a lot more with the Bastion, especially if you're going to go underneath. You can use the corners, get the Immortality field up. You have a couple seconds of freedom to shoot around. But they're going in, once again, same direction as last time.
Does look like they're going down there, but Coco Dust with that flux could be massive into that small little room. See how they decide to approach this. The accretion comes through and misses. Oh, but the Junkrat kind of stuck out by themselves. The Wicker gets caught in that little room with Freckles. But Supercharger invested from Jacoby along with it. Let's see here. Grantsley falling to the flashbang from Grantsley. Moving in, there's a team just fighting the small little room. Accretion's being tossed back and forth. Forced out, Jacoby's Supercharger falls, but Grantsley, Volpe and XZ a little bit too close to his own ammunition there, taken down by himself. And just some quick, easy kills moving in here. Again, they lose the first portion, and some game crew just says, that's the time to press W and go in the small room.
But now we're even as far as ultimate economy goes, both sides having 5 ultimates going into this next engagement. If they can just get to a good spot where they can set up their Bastion to make sure that they can actually get some damage out, they have a really good chance of winning this fight. But that being said, AGC have been putting up an absolutely stellar performance so far, so anything really goes here.
Gotta watch this flux from Coco Dust with no defense ultimate to work with on the side of Lotus. This could be massive as they're stuck in a small little room here. The tire coming out. Oh, but Volbeat knocks Grantsley off the map. Goes down, Waker Gree finds the killing Immortality field. The beat answers XZ's Gravitic Flux. And Volbeat falling to Kobe. That's an even trade. Both teams 5v5 right now. Connect Grass used by XZ. Oh, but Jacoby falls. The Arisa is down. The big point pressed on. Oh, White Phoenix pulling out that pistol. As he said, find the kill onto Waker. The Junkrat gone. A Hulk comes through along the Supercharger. This could be the fight they're looking for. Gravitic Flux investment from Coco Dust. Grantsley using that high noon as well. Finds kill Cheshire Cat. Grantsley with 2. The Immortality field is gone. Grantsley with 3. Grantsley putting the team on his back. Coco Dust finds XZ. And Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith looks like they're going to hold this point again.
That's just insane. They were down, what, 3 members, I believe, in that fight. They lost high ground control. Bastion was set up. They had some ultimates online still. And just Grantsley came back. Gravitic Flux came out. They killed Immortality field and just, God, they turned that around. That was absolutely amazing.
That's where the loss of that the loss of defensive ultimate, whether it be the Lucio or the Zen or something, maybe for the Gravitic Flux comes in because he put them up there with that Flux and they all came down super low. So Grantsley was able to clean them up. Coco Dust putting on a clinic here of how to play Sigma. And we'll see what they decide to pull out on the defense. Now, Freckles did show a really strong performance on Bastion, on Anubis. See if they decide to pull it out here again. I think that's really your only chance of winning here. You can't give a single tick. This is, as we say in the business, drawable. Now, see what they decide to pull out here with 3 seconds left on the clock.
But, of course, at this point, I believe that technically Lotus has lost the series.
Technically, yes, Lotus has lost the series because they cannot win this map. Therefore, Asylum Gaming Crew has won this match. But now we're just playing for map score and, I think more importantly, pride at this point.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Lotus put themselves up on the board here. I always hate to see a team just get completely shut out in a 4-map series, but it's going to be really challenging. They're going to set up on the high ground with the... They're probably staying up on the high ground. Freckles right now sitting on the cart, a little bit confused about that positioning, but nope, he's making his way to the high ground now. Back to what I was expecting out of this composition. The double shield high ground with the Baptiste. They got the little corner for the Immortality field to be thrown down in. The real weakness of this composition is going to be Sigma's going to be forced to point if anybody goes to contest, and he can kind of be capitalized on a little bit.
I'll see what happens. We do have a Waker maybe kind of flexing a little bit onto the Doomfist. I haven't really seen this at all today. Oh, that's a huge halt off the high ground there. XZ forced on a low ground. The team's got to rotate to help them out. But XZ already falling, and that's 2 kills coming through for Asylum Gaming Crew. And this might be the quickest Nimbani attack I've ever seen. Volbeat finding a Waker. The flex was too strong. Taken down by Volbeat. Grantsley find Phoenix, though. That's a lot of healing gone. And yeah, this looks like it's going to be a Asylum Gaming Crew just clean this one up. And nobody's going to be able to touch me. The ball comes in for a last second contest. Slams down, but the Moira ultimate, the coolest already there for Mad Scientist. Just beaming down that ball, and that is going to be a map victory for Asylum Gaming Crew. We had the 4th map, but it is already 3-0. So Asylum Gaming Crew has won the series.
Yeah, that was a devastating attack there. They managed to pull. I think Sigma honestly willingly fell off the high ground just because he understood that they are playing for a single tick and he had to be sitting on point. But then the entire team having to come down with him to keep him up and him just falling anyways, and the body count, and just... That was awful to watch.
And there was that massive play from Grantsley with the McCree 3 coming in there on their defense. But I think a huge play that might go unnoticed there is Takobi's halt off the high ground onto XZ, pulls the Sigma off by themselves. So this is kind of the force team to rotate early. Just very solid tank play, I think, coming from a Asylum Gaming crew has been helping him out today. It's time to start thinking about player of the match here as we head into our 4th map. Now, is there a candidate we should be looking for here for player of the match? My personal one would be probably Awaker and Cocoa Dust are probably the 2 I'm looking at.
Yeah, Grand Slice has some decent performance as well. Of course, everybody on the team's important, and the fact that we're not having to talk about the supports and that they're never caught out or down early is definitely a point in their favor, but they aren't putting up those star performances that you can see out of the off-tank or the DPS roles. Sure,
it's kind of like the offensive line in football, right? You never want people to know your name. You just want to do there and do your job. People eventually figure out that you're pretty good.
Yeah, especially on Moira, this meta.
Especially on the Moira.
Yeah, just a character that you gotta sit there, you gotta put out your damage and your healing, keep everybody up, and just have the stat advantage in your favor. But any play that
you gotta get all the gold medallions. If you don't have all gold medallions by the end of the map, you have not done your job as Moira. Now we go into Rialto here, another very strong Bastion map with all the corners you can work with. Will we see Freckles come out on that again? I think I don't know what to say for Lotus here to bring this map back, or at least put up like a fight here. But see what they decide to roll out on. What do you think that Lotus could do to maybe counter what Asylum Game Crew is doing, or do you think it's just getting outplayed?
I think it's just getting outplayed. There's some small mistakes that they got to shore up on to make sure that this team works well. They gotta get your Bastion coordinating with their tanks just a little bit better. They gotta get their second DPS that isn't on the Bastion taking a little bit more angles when they're pushing in and applying some pressure, knowing when the cooldowns are down. It's just little things that are piling up against them right now that they gotta fix in order if they want to win this. But they total to a mountain at the moment. It's going to be extremely challenging, and it's going to be super exciting if they do it, but it's not likely.
Now it's odd here. We have a little bit of experimentation from inside Lotus with XZ and Cheshire Cat swapping roles on that Orisa Sigma, seeing if maybe XZ has a little more luck there. But they're pushing. They're in their spawn. Takobi fortifying, pushing into the spawn door, perhaps flexing a little bit. Is Asylum Gaming Crew. Cocoa Dust low has to force to back out. Teams trading back and forth, but does look like eventually Lotus is going to get the advantage. Perhaps a little bit too aggressive there for Asylum Gaming Crew, but you know, if you don't touch the spawn doors at least once in a match, did you really win?
I honestly feel like they were holding so close, not to be over-aggressive, but out of respect for the fact that they're running the Bastion. If you keep him from setting up on the cart, his value is greatly diminished, and if you can just hold that first corner, it's very challenging for him to set up damage. But of course, it didn't pan out in the favor, so I guess it might not have been the best strategy. We're going to go into the second fight here, however, and both sides are running a Pharah right now.
Both teams running a Pharah with only the hits from Grantsley on the field to take him down. Immortality Field and Vesta from Hexay keeps up that Bastion. Cheshire Cat finding the kill on the Waker. The Pharah is out of the sky, uncontested now. Is Volbeat. Oh, but Takobi finds Freckles. The Bastion gone. A lot of damage down for Lotus. Both teams kind of pushing their S key here. We do have them pushing and pushing. W is Asylum Gaming Crew finding the picks, pushing into their spawn yet again. Oh, a nice accretion onto Cheshire Cat, not able to really escape. But when you look at Lotus, they are going to have some ultimates to work with on their side, but so is Asylum Gaming Crew. So we'll see which team decides to invest these ultimates early. I think that's your best bet if you are Lotus.
Yeah, and we're coming out. Well, so there's going to be a lot of damage amplification. They have the Baptiste window. They have the Supercharger. The Supercharger, of course, could be countered by Coalescence.
Oh, the hold off the map from Takobi. Hectasy taking a swim in that Rialto Canal. Using the Moira Coalescence and the Valkyrie. Both teams signed investies support ultimates, but no push coming out from Lotus. The accretion onto the fortified Orisa. Oh, Cocoa Dust taking down mid-animation of that Gravitic Flux, and finally Freckles showing off that Bastion ability, I guess, with a triple kill. And they might actually be able to push this through finally is Lotus. Oh, but Awaker gets the kill on, is still alive, finds 2! This Mercy kind of caught off Mr. Meme, maybe trying to escape with their life. It might be enough. Gets a creation though from Cheshire. And they're finally going to push in here, but the Supercharger again invested from both sides. Thinking they can win this is the Asylum Gaming Crew. The back window invested from Hextasy. Bob coming out as well to contest the cart, lifts them up into the air. Grand Slave finds the kill into Hextasy with the Bob. Tries to eat the damage. Does Cheshire Cat with the Connect Grasp, but Grand Slave again. The Bob comes there and they win this again. What is Asylum Gaming Crew?
Honestly, I think that fight was on the back of Cocoa Dust there. He pushed forward, he used his grass to soak up some damage, and he pushed into the Supercharger, took it out, and more importantly, pushed past the Baptiste window, making the ultimate do almost nothing besides amplify the damage that was coming straight to the Orisa, which did manage to get a kill, but it greatly diminished the value that it had. And right now,
swapping off the Bastion here onto the Reaper, not pushing it. Both fortifies invested from both sides. Just run over the Orisa next time. The Immortality Field invested around the corner. Can't die. It does Lotus, but they're not going to push on that. Volbeat using the long-range barrage finds Mr. Meme. Freckles finds Jacoby is 2 down. However, Volbeat taken down by Grant Slay. XZ finding Cocoa Dust. The Moira ultimate not enough to keep the team up. Oh, but Awaker finding the kill with the Junkrat on the Hexy. Couple swaps coming in from both teams just to try to delay. Accretion thrown in from Cheshire Cat has that ultimate to work with. Mad Sign is going to fall to Cheshire Cat, fighting 2. And they are finally going to cap point A of Rialto, pushing through. They might get these quick spawns as well, or these short spawns, as they move in. To Kobe, having to use that Fortify early. Might want to push their advantage, does Lotus. Just kind of sticking with that cart right now. Team's fighting on the bridge. Cocoa Dust taking it off angle, tries to get that value. Does have that Vic Flux to work with on both sides, but no defensive ultimates on either side, though, so these fluxes could be huge. Could be fight deciding. Cocoa Dust is pressing the W key by themselves. The Bob moving in, takes down the Supercharger, slams into it with his body. Suplex the Supercharger out of existence. Awaker Greek takes on XZ. Cocoa Dust find the kill onto the Immortality Field. Bob is free to reign. In the back lines, Grand Slave finds Hextasy. And they are going to claim cart control back, is Asylum Gaming Crew.
But going into this next fight, Lotus didn't commit many ultimates. They have a little bit of advantage here, and their spawns are so short. It's not the most important fight to win. Window coming out, Flux fall.
Flux and Window coming out. Mad Signs already falling. Cheshire Cat. The Immortality Field down. Cocoa Dust using that Flux might be a little too late here. See, they can't get a value. Grand Slay, however, as I say that, XC falls in. Grand Slay with double kill with the Dynamite and the shot. Trying to keep the team up is Phoenix. Trying to keep up that Reaper. See if they can't move forward here. They are forcing Asylum Gaming Crew to press that S key, I think, for the first time this entire match. Volbeat finding a nice direct on a Cocoa Dust, and they are going to win this fight pushing around the first corner.
Yeah, and we see AJC right now looking to try and take the high ground around the next corner. Maybe put some pressure onto the far from up here. It's a dangerous angle to play at, though.
Oh, but Volbeat already down from Grand Slave. The Resurrect might come through for Phoenix if it is in a Rosa position. We do have Awaker using that Junkrat tire. Gets the kill onto the Mercy as she's going for the res. Immortality Field gone from Hextasy. This is where they're going to push in here with that Moira Coalescence and the Bob in the back line. Awaker finds the death from Freckles, but it's not going to be enough as 3 kills come through quickly from Asylum Gaming Crew. Investing a lot of ultimates there, but this is last fight territory.
Yeah, and if they've been ult tracking properly, their opponents are making a whole bunch of swaps actually last second, so they're not going to have any ultimate charge on a bunch of their characters. They only have Freckles Death Blossom and 15 seconds to get on the point. It's going to be challenging to set that up.
Might be going for a little bit of a stall here with that May. But yeah, Hexy swapping over onto the Moira. Might be able to build Coalescence if the fight lasts long enough. In the backline is Freckles finds 2. Hexy falls, Freckles finds 3. Making sure this isn't over just yet. The DPS for Lotus putting the team on their back right now, saying we are not done yet. Freckles with 4. So they move in. Cocoa Dust missed the accretion. Freckles moving in here. Forced to back off though. Oh, but Freckles falls to Cocoa Dust. That could be massive if they don't have Freckles for his fight. The Supercharger invested from XZ might be able to bring this team fight victory back. The Immortality Field is placed over from Mr. Meme. Keeps the team alive a little longer. Oh, the accretion is blocked from Cocoa Dust as they move in here. Cocoa Dust approaching that Gravitic Flux could be huge to bring this point back. The Blizzard from Volbeat though, he gets killed in the animation. Oh no, he can't use that ultimate ability. Phoenix using the Valkyrie just stay alive. XD finds Mr. Meme. The Baptiste gone. Waker Degree finds Hexy. A lot of healing gone from Lotus. That Vap window putting in a line of value. We do have the Moth just flying on. A Waker Degree gets 2. And the Flux from Coconut Sig 9 forced on the point. And just before the end of point B, Lotus is stalled.
Not unwinnable though. This is their best chance so far to win a map. They just have to defend the same distance, and the end of point B is a reasonable place to hold.
The end of point B is reasonable, but a lot of teams get stalled as well at the end of point A, right before that bridge where it's all like Overwatch League per se, where the San Francisco Shock got stalled underneath that bridge for a very long time, just because the spawn differences is huge. We'll see if we just see the defensive Bastion from Freckles, or where it'll be that Reaper kind of popping off at the end there with that quad kill, but maybe pushing a little bit too aggressive, gets killed by Coconut. I think that was where the fight kind of swapped over the momentum. They got a quick switch over on the Asylum Gaming crew.
Yeah, and they lost Freckles too, which kind of put just a sour note on the hero play that he made before that, dropping a Death Blossom right behind a Baptiste window and right outside of the kinetic grasp range of a Sigma. It was a really good play. It just hurts to see that it ended up with Coco taking out Freckles and the fight turning in the favor of AGC.
The Volbeat Freckles onto the Bastion Pharah seems to become a staple of this team as they're moving into a defensive position, probably going to hold on that high ground. But Grand Slay showing off that Bastion as well in the spawn, see if they stick with it. Now, the thing is, a Waker Degree also over the May, perhaps expecting this Bastion. That's a great counter, so we'll see if Freckles is able to avoid getting walled off from their team as we move in here to the attack.
Yeah, some last-second swaps, but we are going to send both Bastions rolling out. One side has Mercy, however, and one side has Mora, and in the Bastion fight, the Mercy is the one that's going to win this.
Oh, but a boop comes through for Mr. Meme, tries to get out with this with the flash form or whatever it is. My bad. Grand Slay finally killing the Freckles, but they're getting a lot of cart movement here towards the end here, even though they lost 2. Cart moving around that first corner, not really pushing their advantage here. Is Lotus, but a Waker Degree falls to Freckles, and they are going to hold him here right in the first corner. But again, I think a lot of free cart space given for free there, even though they were up 2.
Yeah, they just didn't feel comfortable dropping straight from the high ground onto the cart. They're going to set up on this corner, and honestly, as long as it's not past this corner, it's going to be very similar where they're holding. The only problem that this causes is that the payload's right in the center.
Oh, but we had Volbeat going a little too aggressive there. Grand Slay in the spawn, finding that kill onto the Pharah, almost having that barrage that could be massive with that Pharah down, a lot of damage gone from the sky. A lot of suppression. Oh, but Freckles not in the immortality field enough. Grand Slay finding 2, and this is going to be, I think, a Silent Game Crew bringing this fight back again, even though they lost one early. Moving in, and yeah, they're going to push him right back to the spawn here.
Yeah, and going into this next engagement, AGC have built up almost all of their ultimates. They're sitting at around 60% on the Flux in the male, but...
Oh, it could be a huge hold off the side of the map. XZ not having that Fortify to stay alive. They might be able to push in here. XZ using the Supercharger in their point B spawn, but they're just going to give a point A!
Yeah, not a lot of opportunity for them to push out there. They're kind of stuck in their spawn room. They're going to lose Supercharger right now. They coalescence and back up to the next corner. Not a good time right now to be
Grand
Lotus.
Slay already taken down by that Grand Slay Bastion. They can't really even hold this first corner now without that. Gonna get a Resurrect here from Hectasy, playing a little bit, you know, off the edge there. Moving in, as we do have a Waker almost having that Blizzard. But the Baptiste window from outside. Oh, but Freckles melting him right through that window. Getting a little more value is Phoenix from that window. A lot of ults being used. Volbeat finds 3 though with the Pharah barrage, and they're gonna hold him right on this bridge. And very interesting Bastion ultimate from Freckles. A little late, I think. Already up 3 in the fight. And we just have a Waker just
I believe they just popped Valkyrie.
Yes, they did. But
that was a little bit later than the Freckles ultimate. A little bit concerning to see that come out because it is their last. Well, now they only have Flux going into this engagement. It's gonna be really challenging.
Only have Flux going into the Bastion, Alt, Blizzard, and Supercharger. Blizzard used, thrown right onto the point. Oh, but the Halt finds it, it's killed right in that ultimate ability animation is Cheshire Cat. Grand Slay frozen up. Is XZ trying to back out, but might not make it. Tries to stay alive with that Baptiste healing, but Mr. Meme with the kill. Phoenix taking down Kobe, but it does look like it's not going to be enough. They might be able to get one more little stall contest here at the end, but they have no ultimates to work with as they move in and see if anybody can touch Freckles. Touches last second out of that Wraith form, but gets melted instantly by Grand Slay. Mr. Meme with the kill on Cheshire Cat and Awaker Degree. And after what looked like to be a pretty solid first defense fight coming out from Lotus, it's just fell apart real quick here. And that's going to be a quick 4-0 from Asylum Gaming Crew Wraith over Lotus. And I think you can just, if you're Lotus, I think you just delete these VODs and hit a scrim up next week, and I think you just put this one behind you.
I mean, every loss is an opportunity to learn, right?
Yes. Maybe don't Valkyrie when you're already up 4. I guess good lesson learned here. But as we see play the game, we have a Grand Slay taking down a couple right there at the last second. Now, we have to think about a player of the match. It's very close to me between Coco Dust and Grand Slay. Grand Slay, Awaker. Awaker had the big plays, the big moments, but Coco Dust was just so consistent. But I think if you look at it over the whole match, who had bigger impact, I would probably say Awaker, especially for his Anubis performance when he had the far barrages and like 20 seconds it seemed almost. So I think my vote goes to Awaker for this one.
Yeah, you mentioned who I would talk about. I'm going to talk about Coco because I felt like his Sigma was taking a lot of the important space. He was in the places that he needed to be. He shut down a lot of enemy plays just by existing. There were a couple times where he was a little bit out of position, but it was very solid play, and he'd probably be who I'd like to highlight as my player of the match.
It's very close for me. So I mean, if you say Coco Dust, I might as well go Coco Dust. We'll say Coco Dust gets player of the match, and then we have Awaker gets player of the match for Anubis. How about that? We'll call it like that. But yes, a very consistent Sigma play. Nice tank line play overall, I think, from AGC Wraith. That's probably why they won this match. Very solid performance coming out from them. That's what you can expect from the first place seed in their division. Now, we are going to end it here for the Rose Cup here, Gold Division, Week 12, AGC Wraith versus Lotus, 4-0 in favor of AGC. I've been Booney. Alongside me has been Dr. Heathen. We thank you all for tuning in and have a great rest of your night.